So what foods should you eat and what foods should you avoid on keto? Stick around and find out. Okay, so you've just started keto or you're thinking of starting keto, but you're a bit worried because, well, what can you eat? Because there seems to be a lot you can't, right? Am I right? Yeah. Not to worry. We're going to go over that right now. So first we're going to start off with the things you should avoid. First one, which is always the big one, and the one people cry over. I understand. I cried. But I don't miss it. Go figure. But I loved it. I lived on it. Is bread. So breads, cakes, brownies, cookies, pastries, biscuits, all of that. And anything made or containing flours that are made from grains should be avoided on keto. Speaking of grains, let's move on to grains. So if you shouldn't eat things made from grains or flours made from grains or containing flour made from grains, then yeah, you want to stay away from grains as well. So rice, corn or sweet corn, because yeah, that's a grain. Wheat, oat, barley, millet, spelt, amaranth, all of those. Quinoa. I loved quinoa. Couscous, all of those, anything made from grains should be off your table as well. Now, next we have starchy vegetables. Okay, and a good rule of starchy vegetables, if you're not sure whether you should have it or not, is if it grows underground, you should probably stay away from it. So, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, parsnips, beetroot. Now again, some of these eventually you can sort of put back. I mean, are you really going to keel over for a carrot? Or for a few carrot shavings that might have found its way into a salad? Not really. But they should not be something that especially when you're starting, that you should be consuming, because the whole point of starting keto is to get your insulin and your sugars to be low and consistent so that your body can start to heal and so that your body shifts quickly from glucose burning or sugar burning to fat burning. Okay, so again, potatoes, sweet potatoes, beets, carrots, again, anything that grows underground, you want to stay away from. Next we have legumes, I can never say it, and pulses. So yeah, beans, off the table. Lentils, chickpeas, off the table. Soy, off the table. I'm sorry, vegans and vegetarians, I'm sorry, but that goes off the table as well. And this includes products made from these pulses and legumes. So soy and soya products and soya milk, yep, bye. Okay. The last thing, of course, being sugars and highly processed foods. So sugars, of course, cane sugar, honey, maple syrup, molasses, certain natural agave nectar types, coconut sugar, fruit sugar, all of those new healthier types of sugar that is like, oh, made from coconuts, it's still sugar. They're still pulling out the sugar, so stay away from those. Obviously, things made with them, so and things like crisps, and which is a highly processed food, right? It's not potatoes, is it? Not that you should be having potatoes, but again, it's highly processed food. Sweets, candies, chocolate that's not dark chocolate. And what I mean by dark chocolate is, I say more than 80%. If it's not 80% or more, I don't consider it dark chocolate, and you should stay away from anything that's not dark chocolate or raw cacao powder. And highly processed foods. So things that are ready packaged, certain sausages, certain hot dogs, burgers that are not made by your own hand. So those foods, ready meals, all of those highly processed foods. But most importantly, let's talk about oils. Oils that come from grains and seeds that are not simply just cold pressed are highly processed, because let's think about canola oil or vegetable oil. You have to heat it in order to extract the oils. It's not like avocado or olive oil that you get the oil just by pressing it. You have to heat it and treat it and process it, the canola oil or the vegetable oil, in order to get the oil that you've finished with. So canola oil, vegetable oils, rapeseed oil, all of those gone. Okay, they're not good for you to begin with. So those are the foods you should be avoiding. Now let's go for the food you can eat. Woo-woo! Okay, the first thing are leafy greens and vegetables which grow above ground. So most of the ones that grow above ground are fine to eat as much as you want of. There are a few that you sort of just want to eat them in moderation. Things like Brussels sprouts, onions, especially if you're cooking them, tomatoes, especially if you're cooking them, have a higher sugar content, right? These are the ones that caramelize or get sweeter as you cook them. So you might want to just kind of keep them in moderation, or just watch how much you're using. But overall, if it grows above ground, it should be okay. Leafy greens, right? Lettuce leaves, different kinds of lettuce, but mainly bok choy or pak choy, depending on where you live. But your friends are spinach, kale. I know, I'll get to kale in a bit. Asparagus. Other friends are mushrooms. Peppers, again, they're more in moderation. Radishes. There's lots of fruit. There's lots of veg that can be used and can be eaten freely, or at least moderately. Just kind of watch how much you're using. Okay. The next thing are meats. You can eat meat. You can eat lots of meat. Well, we'll get into that at another point in time. But you can eat meats that are fattier cuts. So gone are the days where you had to trim off the fat. Now we encourage you to have the fat, because it's saturated fat, it's natural fats, and they are actually good for your cell membranes and things going on in your body. They help to protect you. So the fattier cuts of steak, the fattier cuts of chicken are encouraged, and usually they're less expensive these days. So you save a little bit of money buying them anyway. Pork, duck, all sorts of meat, eggs, of course. Now, when it comes to these, you want to try wherever possible. Look, if it doesn't fit your wallet, then it doesn't fit your wallet. Okay, you'll still be eating better than you did before, but wherever possible, buy grass-fed, grass-finished, pasture or raised or free range, and buy organic wherever you can. When it comes to seafood and fish, you want to try to get wild caught rather than farm raised. And if you've ever seen farm raised versus wild caught salmon, wow, the difference is huge. It is startling. So wherever possible, grass-fed, grass-finished, pasture-raised, wild-caught, organic, that goes for everything. Again, if your wallet doesn't let you do it, that's fine. You're still eating better than you did before. The only thing I would say is please try to go for pasture-raised or free-ranged eggs. If you do nothing else, go for the eggs. Okay? Next, we have dairy. Fat-free dairy? No. No low fat, no fat free. We're going for full fat cheeses, full fat yogurts, but in moderation. Double creams or heavy cream, full fat sour creams. We're actually staying away from milk. Staying away from milk because, again, milk has lactose, which is a sugar. The more it becomes a cheese, the more it's heavier cream or butter, the less lactose it has. Okay, so that's the reason why we can have full fat cheeses, but we stay away from milk. And I don't know about you, but I prefer heavy creams and double creams in my coffee. Now, next we have nuts, seeds, and berries. Now, fruit has fructose, which is a sugar, so technically you're staying away from them. But there are certain fruits, although if you're just starting keto, I would say give yourself a month or so before you start bringing them in, okay? Because one, the change in how they taste and how sweet they taste to you will be amazing. But just because they're fruit, even though they're the lowest amount of, they contain the lowest amount of sugar, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, even blueberries have a higher content of all of the berries. So again, eating them very sparingly, no more than probably, from what I've read, a quarter cup of these. But they can have. But I would say, just from my own experience, hold off. Don't bring them in until about a month or two into keto. You'll be amazed at the sudden treat that you can have. Nuts and seeds are also your friends. So they contain a good amount of fat. They do contain protein, and things like almonds and coconut, which coconut is a nut, right? Have amazing properties. Now you can also use the milk that you gain from these. So almond milk, be careful with the higher, some like things like pistachios are much higher as far as their carb content. So just be careful. But things like almond and almond milk, hazelnut and hazelnut milk, cashew nut milk, coconut and coconut milk. Woohoo! I love cooking with coconut milk, so yay. All of those are fine, and also flours made from it. So almond flours, nut flours, seed flours, tahini. Woohoo! Tahini's back on. Hummus may be off, but tahini is back on the plate. Coconut flour and almond flour and coconut flour are two staples that you can use to actually make keto breads. Now, again, let's stay away from keto breads right now if you've just started. But all of these are things that you can have, and they're high in fat and moderate in protein, so you can add them to your foods. Now, the last one that I want to cover is healthy fats and sauces. So remember when you couldn't use canola oil or vegetable oil or rapeseed oil? Well, these are the oils that you can use because they are simply cold pressed in order to get the oils. So avocado, of course, is something that is your friend on keto. Olives as well, and they contain healthy oils. And you can also use the oils that are made from them. So avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, of course, and olives. Eat your olives if you can. If not, just cook with the oils. Also, the natural fats like butter, ghee, lard, tallow, duck fat, goose fat, woot woot. All of those are doable and are what you should be using on keto. Now, all of those are foods that you can have, and you can use them in different ways and in different creative ways. Like, again, just letting you know a couple of the recipes that I have, and actually I'll link up to them here. So using vegetables that grow above ground, I make a fantastic yellow Puerto Rican style cauliflower rice, which everybody keeps going, no, that's just rice. That's yellow rice. I'm going, no, that's cauliflower rice. So I'll link that here. It tastes fantastic. Also, I make Indian butter chicken. So when you want a curry or when you want Indian food, this one's full of spices and double cream or heavy cream. And it's our favorite. It is our absolute favorite. We can eat that day in and day out. And my video also includes making a pilau cauliflower rice. I also make rice pudding, or arroz con dulce, as we call it. So yeah, I can actually make rice pudding with cauliflower rice, and it tastes good. I can also do Brussels sprouts as a side dish with some bacon. You don't have to put bacon, and chestnuts, so I'll include that here. And then there's just a whole bunch. I've even made some nice triangle jam cookies. Yes, I can actually use that little bit of raspberries that I can get allotted for the day and use it as and make jam out of it and use it in keto jam triangles, or as my Jewish friends call it, hamantashen. And they taste fantastic. So there are so many things you can do. You just need to get out there and start trying. Oh yeah, and kale. Kale. It took me forever to start liking spinach. And cream spinach. Or down here. I think I might have run out of spaces. So it's either going to be up here or down below. I'll link to all of them down below as well in the description. But kale, oh my God, it's my new friend. It's my new friend. And I didn't think, because I don't like bitter leaves. But all we did was sprinkle some olive oil on them, some seasoning, place them nice and flat on a baking tray, put them in the oven, and we had kale crisps. And if you haven't had kale crisps, you have not lived. In fact, over here, it's known, a lot of the Chinese food places do it, and it's known as crispy seaweed. So the crispy seaweed that is nice and sweet and salty is actually made from kale. So if you want that crunch, that salty crunch that you used to get from chips or crisps if you live over here in the UK, then by all means, go in, make a bunch of kale, flavor it up however you want, and they're just so satisfying to munch on. Look at that. Things you can do already just with the foods that you can eat. So go out there and experiment. You're going to have to do more. It's a lot more difficult to just go out and buy. And speaking of buying, stay away from the ready-made keto bars or this or the high protein that. It just keeps you dependent, or the shakes, just keeps you dependent on somebody else's shakes, and it's not very satisfying. Let's put it that way. I don't know about you, but I would rather have a plate full of my butter chicken with pilau cauliflower rice rather than grabbing a protein keto-fied bar. Okay? Get back to the food. Okay? Nothing changes if nothing changes. It may mean you're cooking more. It may mean you're thinking about food so that you can prepare it more. It may mean that you need to plan it so that you're on track. Yeah, it may mean all of that. But at the end, you're going to have in your pretty little hands a whole bunch of food that actually tastes fantastic and that will keep you motivated to be on keto rather than spending all day munching on keto bars and shakes. That won't. So until next time, I say to you, Have a fantastic time on keto, and foodie bye. If you like this video, click the like button. If you like what I do, click the subscribe button and the bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you love what I do, why not become a patron? For the cost of a coffee, you can help enable more content like this. Thank you so much for watching.